Welcome to Reach for the Top, the game in which some of the area's brightest students have an opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge. 24 teams originally entered into our preliminary elimination, and 8 teams have made it to the Provincial Finals. Now, let's meet today's contestants.
Representing Fenelon Falls Secondary School, we have Kristen Wesselink, Mike Innes, Mike Ashton, Sean Engers, and their coach, Richard Evans. And from Woburn Secondary School, representing the Toronto area, we have Colin Dale, Jason Malinowski, Lawrence Brown, and Richard Masilal, and their coach, Larry Rice. And I'm Mark Lade. Welcome to today's game. Welcome, panel. Good luck on these questions and the rest of the game. Let's see how we do with the snappers. Hashemi Rafsanjani represents the class of powerful Iranians known as Bazaris. What class is this? Lawrence.
Merchant class.
Correct. Gracie Allen and her husband were a comedy duo.
George Burns.
Correct. What's the term for the hairs at the back of a dog's neck that stand up when it's...
Hackles.
Correct. Who is the premier of Prince Edward Island? Richard.
Is.
Correct. What breakfast staple... What breakfast staple derived its name from the past participle? Colin.
Pablum?
No. Past participle of the Latin verb torrere, to dry, to parch. What are we looking for here, Fenelon Falls? Kristen.
Toast?
Yeah, toast. It's the past participle. I didn't know that, Steve. Did you? The toast?
No, that came as news to me as well, Mark.
You can write that down and amaze our friends. Our judge, Steve Officer. Steve, we're looking at some pretty well-qualified people here, aren't
Well, Fenelon Falls last year made it to the finals and was 10-0 in the playdowns, and they're up against a team that is 9-1, so I think we can expect a pretty good game again.
That game will get started right after a couple of important messages. The Woburn Secondary School team almost didn't make it here from Toronto this afternoon. They ran into some car trouble on the 401 down here. Steve Malinowski, who was a contestant a couple of years ago in the Provincial Finals, was driving the car, and they tried to hang the blame on you for the failure of the car, didn't they?
I hung it back on Dad, actually, used his car.
Okay, Dad, it's all yours. But we're glad that Woburn is here. Steve, thank you for bailing out your team. Let's see. Panel, the topic is the Canadian North. In which district is Baffin Island? By far, Colin.
Keewatin.
No.
Nope. Fenelon Falls, Mike.
Franklin.
Yes.
Correct.
Which community meaning place of man is transportation and Mike Ashton?
Correct.
Identify one of the 2 national parks in the Northwest Territories. Mike.
Ellesmere.
No.
Woburn? Jason?
Wood Buffalo.
No.
Nahanni or Ayutika? Ayutika. I think I hurt myself on that one. Nahanni's one of them. Ayutituk. With apologies to the people who can pronounce it correctly. Classical music. Listen, this will provide a clue, and I would like you to hold on for a question that follows. This is an excerpt from one of the several Slavonic dances by what composer? Jason.
Khachaturian.
No.
Slavonic dancers. Sean.
Tchaikovsky.
No.
Anton Dvorak. Dvorak is the celebrated composer of what modern... Colin.
New World Symphony.
Of
No.
what modern nation? Fenelon Falls.
Oh.
Mike.
Soviet Union.
No.
Czechoslovakia. Here's a scramble for 5 points. What is the world's 2nd largest ocean? Lawrence.
The Atlantic.
That's the truth.
My baby.
Woburn, these are yours. They deal with the Atlantic. Between Sierra Leone and what other country is the shortest possible crossing of the Atlantic? Colin.
Correct.
The legend of Atlantis, from which the Atlantic is named, comes down to us in the writings of what ancient Greek?
Plato.
Lawrence.
Plato.
Correct.
What is the name given to the relatively still part of the Atlantic stretching between the West Indies and the Azores? Lawrence?
The Sargasso Sea.
Okay, guys, a few more points there. That brings Woburn up to 75. Fenelon Falls at 30 as we go into hockey. In the 1988 NHL playoffs, Edmonton Oilers emerged as champions. Which of the other teams did they defeat in the finals? Colin.
Boston Bruins.
How many games were required to decide? Colin.
4.
The Toronto Maple Leafs made the playoffs in the 1987-88 season. Name the team which Mike Innes.
Detroit.
Correct. All right. Famous people. Which French painter was the founder of Neo-Impressionism? Lawrence.
Gauguin.
No.
Fenelon Falls. Kristen.
Degas.
No.
Georges Seurat. Which Russian physiologist was noted for his study of conditional reflexes? Lawrence.
Pavlov.
Correct.
Which Canadian is the author of the Benny Cooperman detective novels? Lawrence.
Howard Engels.
Which South African soldier and statesman was a leader of the Boers in the Boer Roar? Mike Ashton.
Kruger.
No.
And was the first president of the Union of South Africa from 1910 to 1919. Woburn. Lawrence.
Pieter.
No.
Louis Botha. Modern art. Again, watch the monitors for clues here, panel. Let's have a look at number 1. This was painted by what 20th century artist and supporter of the Destigi movement?
Mondrian.
Correct. Piet Mondrian, Rhythm of Straight Lines. Mondrian was Dutch, but emigrated to what country in 19... Lawrence.
United States.
Correct.
Let's have a look at another painting. This style is called color field painting. Who painted this? Kenneth Noland painted it. It's entitled Go. This style came into prominence in what decade of this century? Kristen.
1960s.
Correct. That's correct. Geography. Which 2 groups of islands have become the centers for the North Sea oil? Mike.
Time.
Woburn. For which of the North Sea oil industry? Orkneys and Shetlands. The Galapagos Islands are 960 kilometers off. Richard.
Correct.
Near what city would I find a park called, in translation, Desert of the Lions? Lawrence.
Cairo.
No.
Fenelon Falls. Mexico City. Geology. Who proposed the theory of continental drift? Mike Ashton.
Wagner.
Correct.
When 2 oceanic plates are spreading apart, what feature is formed? Mike Innes.
A ridge.
Correct. Mid-ocean rise or ridge. What's the name for the zones in which one plate is pushed underneath? Collins.
Subduction.
Correct. The topic is people. All the following people have the last name Johnson. Identify their first name. 17th century president of the United States, Mike Ashton.
Time.
He
Andrew.
was impeached in 1868.
Andrew Johnson.
Correct.
The English lexicographer, poet, Mike Ashton.
Samuel.
Correct.
Name the Canadian tenor, Mike Ashton.
Robert.
No.
Became director of the Metropolitan Opera in New York from 1935 to 1950. There's another Johnson. First name, Richard?
George.
No.
Edward. Gee, we went all this way and forgot all about Howard. However. Politics. In December of 1988, North Korea appointed a new prime minister. He is a member of the Politburo for the ruling Workers' Party. What is his name, Mike Ashton?
Rowe.
No.
Woburn, Lawrence?
Kim.
No.
Von Hyung-muk. Nice try. December 1921, Agnes MacPhail became the first Canadian, Mike,
Member of Parliament.
correct, member of federal parliament. She was elected to federal parliament. March 1989, Brian Peckford steps down as Premier of Newfoundland, replaced by Mike Innes.
Tom Ryder.
Correct. History, a political leader in the struggle for independence in Kenya. This man was assassinated, Mike Ashton.
Kenyatta.
No.
Assassinated 6 years after independence. Woburn, Tom Mboya. After the Earl of Liverpool, which British Prime Minister has held office longest without a break? Mike.
Margaret Thatcher.
Correct. The world-famous U.S. showman William Cody died in Mike Ashton.
Buffalo Bill.
Correct. Buffalo Bill Cody. All right, panel. What do we call atoms belonging to the same element but possessing Mike Ashton?
Isotopes.
Who cut the notorious Gordian knot with his sword?
Alexander the Great.
Correct. He cut it with his sword rather than untie it, also known as Alexander the Lazy. Provolone, Edam, and Munster. Mike.
Cheese.
Correct.
The Minto Cup is associated with Mike.
Hockey.
No.
With what sports? Woburn. Minto Cup. Lawrence.
Lacrosse.
Yes.
Correct.
How many sides are there? How many sides in the Rubik's Cube? Colin.
6.
Correct.
Yes. The assigned questions are next. This week for the top continues.
Summer's a great time to find a shady little spot to relax. Custom draperies and...
Okay. Just before we go to the assigned question, Kristen Reynolds from Southwood Secondary School in Cambridge was one of the people who's been kept very busy this weekend. From Cambridge to London and all that in between. Kristen, what have you guys been up to?
Oh, we've been doing lots of things, mainly meeting really great people. It's a fantastic time here. Everyone's fantastic. And just like to say that anyone out there who's thinking of joining their school team should really do it. It's a great time, and I've always wanted to do this. Hi, Dad.
All right. Thank you. Kristen Reynolds from Southwood Secondary School in Cambridge. Steve, where do we stand at the half?
Well, these two teams look like they've been having a good time as well. Very close game. Fenelon Falls, 150. Woburn, 185.
Okay, on to the assigned question, wherein each team member is pitted against his opponent. There's a potential of 40 points for each team. Let's see how Kristen and Colin do on the number 4. Okay, what 1933 movie classic starring Ruby Keeler, George Brent, and Ginger Rogers, among others, is considered to be the definitive backstage musical? What are we talking? Colin.
4 on the Floor?
No.
Kristen.
4 Seasons?
No.
42nd Street was what we were looking for there. What is the date in July for France's Bastille Day? Colin.
July 14.
Yes. Mike Innes. Jason Malinowski. Let's see how you do. 4, again, the topic here. It was applied originally to the Reporters' Gallery in the British House of Commons. What term describes the press? The Fourth Estate. Okay. In 1918, what name was given to President Wilson's basis for a peace settlement with Germany? Jason.
4 Points of Light.
No.
Mike Innes. The 14 points. I should get at least a 1 point for creativity there, Jason. Anyway. Mike Ashton, Lawrence Brown, we're still talking about 4. In the book of Revelations, who symbolizes the horrors of war? Mike.
The 4 Horsemen.
That's right. What do the 4 H's represent in the name? Lawrence.
Health, happiness, helping, and illness.
No.
Or the Rural Youth Organization. Mike Ashton.
Hands, heart, help, and health.
No.
Head, heart, hands, health. Sean, Richard. The 4 freedoms, as outlined by President Roosevelt in 1941, were freedom from want and fear, and freedom from what other 2 things? And freedom of what other 2 things? Religion and speech. When it joined the Union, it was the 49th state to do so. Which one? Sean.
Hawaii.
No.
49th state. Richard. Alaska. Yeah. Word puzzles. What letter do we add to the beginning of a word meaning a fool, a blockhead, to create a second word meaning a girl or young woman, especially one who is unmarried? Jason. L? L. You add L to ass and you get laugh. Continuing in the same vein, what letter must be added to the beginning of a word meaning inclined, disposed, prone, to create a second word meaning deeply engrossed or absorbed? Sean.
R.
R. You add R to apt. You get rapt. What letter must be added to the beginning of a word meaning family name of a famous American jazz trumpeter to create a second word meaning a long or... Sean.
S.
Correct. S. You add S to hurt. You get shirt.
Great.
Current events. The death of Emperor Hirohito, January 7, 1989. Jason.
Akihito.
No.
Brought the end of the era of bright peace in Japan. What is the Japanese word for bright peace, Mike?
Haisai.
No.
Showa. The new Emperor Akihito will be ruling under an era known as Heisei. Mike.
Peace.
What does Heisei mean in English?
Forward. French.
Achieving peace. What's the title given to the throne of the Japanese rulers? The chrysanthemum throne. History. Famous battles. In what battle that occurred October 21st, 1805 was Colin?
Trafalgar.
Correct.
Harold led one side in Mike Ashton.
Hastings.
Correct.
Which 2 commanding generals are killed? Lawrence.
Wolfe and Montcalm.
Correct.
How did you know that? All right, 225 for Woburn. Fenelon Falls, 190. Here's a who am I question. First clue correctly answered could be worth 40 points. I was born in Scotland in 1827. Studied Mike Ashton.
Sir Sanford Fleming.
Correct. Sanford Fleming is correct. Wow, 40 points.
Gee.
Gee, and there were a lot of nice clues in here. We won't be able to hear them now. On to special. Here's special question. 10 points. Name the 4 stages in the life of the butterfly. Jason.
Egg, pupa, larva, and adult.
Correct. Not necessarily in that order. Movie themes. Let's listen to a movie theme here. John.
Star Wars. Yeah, Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. Rhett Butler, Scarlett O'Hara. I don't know nothing about birthing no babies. On to, let's have another one.
Chariots of Fire.
Chariots of Fire. You guys are good. Number 3. Lawrence.
The James Bond theme.
That's right. Okay. 275, Woburn, 230, Fenelon Falls. Chemistry is the topic now. Carbon is found in several different forms, including graphite and diamond. What name is given to this ability of an element to Mike?
Allotrope.
Correct. Yes. What is the most obvious property of copper 2 sulfate crystals? Sean.
They're blue.
Yeah, that's right.
That's retarded.
What's the precipitate produced when carbon dioxide is passed into lime water? Jason.
Calcium carbonate.
Yeah, what's Sean?
Hey, fancy boy.
The Spanish Civil War.
Time to work it out.
The forces of Francisco Franco were called the Nationalists. What name was given Mike Ashton?
Republican.
Correct. Which term first used to describe the work of Franco's followers? Lawrence.
Fascism.
Refers to an organized group working for the enemy from within the country of war. Mike.
The 5th column.
Which Canadian doctor fighting for the lawyers? Mike.
Bethune.
Yeah.
What's the title of the Picasso painting that the... Kristen.
Guernica.
All right, we've got a seesaw battle for first place here. Fenelon Falls ahead by 5 points, 290 against Woburn's 285. Classical music, concerning composers of classical music. This American composer died in 1937 at the age of 39 and is known for works such as Rhapsody in Blue. Lawrence.
George Gershwin.
This composer was born in 1843 and died in Lawrence.
Irving Berlin.
Died in 1907. His most popular works are romantic songs and melodies based on the folk tunes of his native Norway. Much of this music was used in the soundtrack of the film Song of Norway. Fenelon Falls. Mike.
Haydn.
Edvard Grieg. English composer, born in 1842, best known for the light operas for which he composed music to the Lawrence.
Sullivan.
Arthur Sullivan's what we're looking for there. Here's another scramble for 5 points. What's the name given to a solid figure whose base lies on a plane? Lawrence.
Statue.
And is bounded by a closed curve and whose lateral surface tapers uniformly to a point called the vertex. What is the name given to this solid figure? Fenelon Falls. Kristen.
Cone.
Cone is what we're looking for. The following questions deal with the cones. What is the name of the cone that occurs in most practical problems?
Answer?
Ideal cone.
The right circular cone. The line drawn from the vertex to the center of the base is perpendicular to the base. What is this line called? Height? The altitude of the cone. A line from the vertex to a point of the circumference of the base is called a... Mike?
Slant height.
Slant height's what we're looking for. We're tied up. 305. Who has recently set up office in the penthouse of the Fox Plaza in Los Angeles? Lawrence.
Donald Trump.
Fenelon Falls. Ronald Reagan. What Toronto pop group's debut album is called Outskirts? Sean.
The Rodeo.
In what province did the Cypress Hills Massacre? Mike.
Manitoba.
Cypress Hills Massacre? Colin.
Alberta.
Saskatchewan. Who created the character of Ernestine, the telephone operator? Colin.
Willie Tomlin.
What horse racing event is held at Pimlico in Maryland? Richard.
The St. Anna races.
Fenelon Falls. Pimlico. Mike.
The Belmont.
The Preakness. Sports. Identify the sport or pastime associated with the following terms and describe the action in your own words. Dribble. Mike.
Basketball. Bouncing a ball.
Okay, moving right along. Riposte. Mike.
Fencing.
Correct.
Ringer. John.
Horseshoe tossing.
Correct.
Snappers. On to the snappers panel. Who directed the feature film Going Down the Road? Lawrence.
Robert Altman.
No.
Fenelon Falls. Don Shabib. The Ottawa River and the Gatineau River are two of the three rivers that flow. Lawrence.
The Rideau.
Correct.
Which King George of England reigned from 1910 to 19... Colin.
George IV.
No.
From 1910 to 1936. Fenelon Falls. Mike Ashton.
The 5th.
Correct.
Oh, Canada is the national anthem. What's the royal anthem? Sean.
I'll say the Queen.
Correct.
What is the floral emblem of Nova Scotia? Lawrence.
Lady Slipper.
No.
Fenelon Falls. Mike.
White Lily.
No.
The Mayflower. The Dora Award is presented to the personalities of what media? Medium. Mike.
Radio.
No.
What? Richard?
Cinema.
No.
The theater. Acadia University is located in what? Mike.
Nova Scotia.
No.
What Canadian city? What we're looking for here.
Halifax.
No.
Wolfville. Name Canada's largest chartered bank. Mike.
The Royal Bank.
Correct.
What's the baby beaver called? Lawrence.
Kit.
According to the Canadian Post Office, what is Santa Claus's appropriate postal code? Mike Ashton.
HOH-OHO.
O-H-O-H-O-H. March 20th, 1989. The sun moved north over the equator. What's this called? Mike Ashton.
A solstice.
No.
Jason.
Equinox.
The vernal equinox. Name Ontario's Lieutenant Governor. Mike Ashton.
Lincoln Alexander.
For what purpose will the Toronto Blue Jays be hiring a... Lawrence.
To move into the dome.
No.
Well, why will the Blue Jays be hiring a falconer at the new Sky Dome? Mike Innes.
To get rid of the seagulls in the new Sky Dome.
Who is the movie actress who stars in both of these recently released films? Dangerous Liaisons and Tequila Sunrise. Lawrence.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
What word is the name of a bird and also the name a means to sell goods? Mike.
Hawk.
Okay. We will be right back after a couple of important words.
Hi there. Welcome to the Corner Hutch. My name is...
The sunny side of city life into your home. We'll be there in your good-looking day. From the city to the valley, right into your world. We'll have the best of both in every way. In the city, there's something to see. In the valley is where you ought to be. Turn on the feeling, 'cause seeing's believing. You're there. We've got lots of excitement in the air. Excitement in the air. You'll find that there is magic everywhere. CHRO is there along the way. Cable 6 for your good-looking day.
Well, Steve. That was quite a game.
Yes, Fenelon Falls outscored Woburn 255 to 160 in the second half to come away with a 415 to 345 victory.
Seesaw battle. What a good game. Thank you both, guys. That was an excellent game. We'll have another one for you next week. Next week, Tugwa Secondary School from Cornwall takes on Nepean High School in Ottawa. See you then as we reach for the top.
This is CHRO TV, Cable 6.